It's a government-issued photo ID that many of us would assume carries all the necessary information to fly within Canada. Take out your Ontario health card and take a closer look. You'll notice it has your full name, photo, and date of birth, but there's one piece of information not on there. And that missing information was the reason one WestJet passenger was recently denied boarding on a flight from Ottawa.
When I went to get on the flight, they looked at my health card and they said, "Oh, do you have anything with your gender on it?" And I said, "What do you mean?"
Last night, Marty Daly was preparing to fly home to Toronto from Ottawa on a WestJet flight after a 3-day work trip. But she was left stranded when her health card didn't have the necessary information to get on the plane. She says she used it to fly to the nation's capital on Porter Airlines days before and was confused when this time around it wasn't accepted.
And they said, "Well, we can't let you on without proving your gender." And I said, "Okay, but how do I prove my gender?"
Daly had no other form of ID and limited funds. Her flight and accommodations had already been paid for as part of her trip. And she says the options the airline were providing weren't feasible for her.
They said, "Okay, well, you can apply for a fisherman's license and you can go to a Service Canada." And I said, "Well, it's 8 o'clock at night, How am I supposed to get to a Service Canada and print it out? You're assuming that I have money to go from the airport, find a Service Canada, come back here, and then get on another flight."
Since 2016, sex designation has not been displayed on Ontario health cards. While health cards are listed as a valid form of ID for domestic flights on the federal public safety website, there is a caveat that some of the IDs listed may require supplemental identification. The problem is many Ontarians aren't even aware that gender information isn't on their health cards anymore.
We definitely understand that the situation was difficult, and we don't ever like to have to deny somebody boarding, but we have to follow Transport Canada regulations. It's the law for us, and we can actually get fined for not following those regulations.
But it raises the question, why is gender identification of any kind needed to fly?
It's a regulation that comes from Transport Canada, and it is for weight and balance. And we are working on upgrading that system so that it can accept non-binary gender selection.
While WestJet stresses the issue with Daly was a legal one and had nothing to do with gender identity, Daly, who is gender fluid, wants to raise awareness about a system that she believes needs to change.
I think there needs to be better communication, and there really has to be more of a rationale as to why gender is a dictator of whether or not you can fly.
Now, Public Safety Canada tells CityNews that it's looking into making changes when it comes to gender and flying. Officials add a traveler would need to identify a gender when booking, but not while boarding. Meantime, Daly ended up taking a train home. WestJet has since apologized for her experience and offered to refund the flight. She adds in the future she'll be carrying her birth certificate with her.